Hello, and welcome to Our Ventura TV. I'm MB Hanrahan, and today my guest is my friend Liz Campos, who is the current chair of the Westside Community Council. Liz, thanks for joining me today. And we're talking about the west side of Ventura, California. And why don't you tell us a little bit about the organization, and then we'll go from there as for what y'all are trying to accomplish.
The Westside Community Council is the first community council established in Ventura, California. And it was established to protect the interests of people living on the avenue. It started mostly as to fight zoning laws and fight too many buildings being shoved over to this side of town and nothing in the mansion area on the other side of town. However, as it's developed and the neighborhood's grown and the city's grown, we've become a community council that cares about the entire community.
Well,
and right now, that's our focus.
Thank you. I was hoping that you would mention that the West Side is just part of the larger whole, and what happens on the West Side does affect everyone. But meanwhile, here we are on the West Side. So describe some of the things that you've been involved in. What would you say is, I know that every chairperson representing the community and the council brings in an agenda. So what kind of things are you saying that we're working on right now?
Right now, actually, we have a couple of big things going on. Primarily, one of the fossil fuel companies wants to expand their operations right in the heart of West Ventura and across the street from a school in a very dangerous zone to expand a compressor station. So we're working very hard on Earth Day. We're working very, very hard to limit that expansion because we live in a time when it's fossil fuels should be shutting down, not gearing up for more.
I'm just going to interject because this is something that you're working on right now, but the presence of fossil fuel exploration has been actually what developed the west side of Ventura, like right off the bat. It's one of the most oldest industries in Ventura besides agriculture, and its presence is now where there's residents. It used to be just oil lands, and now there's people and oil lands. So we may be talking about the present, but this is something that was the past. It will probably continue on into the future. And so we may still be talking about this for years. So, okay, so ecological interests for sure.
Yes. During COVID, we also learned an awful lot about the need for food security. And in West Ventura, the Westside Community Council did a program to outreach and bring food to people who can't get out of their homes to go to the food pantries and pick it up. And we successfully have taken care of about 250 residents who are homebound or otherwise isolated during the pandemic. That's kind of slowing down now because things are opening up.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was very important. We also did fundraisers and brought diverse books to schools to try and expand the idea of a diverse community of people living together, not just one race or color. We gave school supplies to the kids when they were first sent home to study at home. And we just work hard to take care of everyone in our community.
How do people become involved? And what's your best pitch as far as getting people in general to become involved with their local community councils?
Not just the community councils, but the city council also work with public engagement. They're making decisions for each and every one of us every day, as we are. And so the more the community tells us what their needs are and what they would like to see happen or change, the better set we are to accomplish those things as goals. So to contact the Westside Community Council, you can email westsidecommunitycouncil@gmail.com, and within 2 or 3 days you'll get a response. You can also join and become a member right on the website, which is westsidecommunitycouncil.org. And I encourage everybody also to engage with our city council and attend the WebEx meetings on Monday evenings, 2 Monday evenings a month. And you can sign up and speak at the meetings and just tell the city what you want them to do instead of letting them just decide for us.
We were speaking before the interview about, what it takes to get people from like just acknowledging that they live in a community. They're not just by themselves in their cars, in their little homes, that we're all interconnected, to actually having some sense of consciousness of activism. What's your pitch to people? How do you get them from I'd like to do this to actually doing something? And you mentioned some baby steps, so anything that you can expand on about that?
Well, if you have children, the children are constantly bringing little newsletters home from school, or if you're walking to school or from school with them, there's a couple of wonderful free newspapers in Ventura that really keep up with the needs of the community and what's going on. And if you read those papers and see things that you feel something about, it's good to speak to your neighbors, speak to the community council, speak to the city council. You can do it from home in emails or letters. I think that's the best way. If you have a lot of children in school, involve yourself with the school board. They do their meetings on Zoom too, and they always welcome public comments.
So in person,
so it's a matter of I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say in person, because in the future, I'm hoping, obviously, that the Zoom platform, and we're not endorsing that particular organization, but it's the platform where we can still speak virtually and meet virtually, stays or becomes hybrid when we can go up to, the hill, or up to go to a meeting in public, in person, excuse me. That's great. But some people, I believe that you mentioned it, this crisis has brought up that not everybody can get into those buildings, has the ability to. Their family concerns may not allow them to leave the house. So in some ways, I feel that the crisis of being locked down has opened up more avenues for people to be involved. It's not a voice is a voice. That's just my
precisely. I in fact live in a wheelchair because of a brain and spinal cord injury, and it was always very difficult for me to roll in Ventura up a steep hill to city council to attend meetings and roll home in the dark at night.
Oh my gosh.
So Zoom really opened up my world. I can attend all the meetings and speak, and probably that's partly contributed to my being elected chairman of the board of the community council, because the wheelchair is no longer a barrier in a Zoom meeting. It's opened up the world for many people with disabilities.
I'm really glad that you mentioned that. I mean, people they're absolutely completely able, and they can't pick up a pen or open or crack the keyboard. What do you say to people that just feel that it's not worth it, that no one really listens, even the people, like, they don't even want to vote, because they're so discouraged and disillusioned? I mean, do you have an answer to that?
Well, we all kind of learned over the last maybe 8 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, how important our vote is.
Yes.
No matter what your preference is, the vote is very important. And it's one way that we can speak without showing our face, or without having to feel like we're embarrassed or someone might think bad of us, because we can vote. And that's the first step to having a voice in our world. I also believe that people need to just speak up about anything they see that they feel is wrong or feel bad about. Just speak. Say what you believe and stand by it, and don't let people push you around. We've been bullied too long in our world, by our government, by maybe fossil fuel companies, maybe other political views. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. If you're bullying people, you're wrong.
Oh, I think that's beautiful. We could keep talking, I'm sure, for a very long time, but I will stop on that note. You know, people take heart. Change comes slow sometimes. Sometimes it comes very quickly, but a lot of times it's the long view. It's the long view, Liz, and we can't be discouraged. So I'm with you on that. I'm not neutral on that one.
That's
Okay,
right.
so thank you for taking time out of your very busy and valuable life. And I want to also thank our audience. Thank you. This has been Our Ventura TV. I'm MB Hanrahan, and I will catch you next time.